Hello and welcome to another video from Cram the Exam, where I walk you through another exam question, and today we're having a look at a CAE word formation exercise from the excellent website at flo-joe.co.uk. Before we get into the exercise, let's just go over the basics, just in case you haven't done one of these before and you want to know how to do it properly. First of all, you've got to change the word in capital letters at the end of each line, and that word on that line has got to go into that gap. So if we have a look at number 1, for example, you've got to choose demonstrate. You can't choose vocation or any other word. And secondly, about exam technique, make sure you read through the whole article before you start answering the questions. You've got to know the context. You've got to know what's going on. At least you've got to have a good idea of what's going on, because if you get the context correct, you're going to get all of your answers correct. And I'm talking in particular about negative prefixes and the type of noun or adjective or adverb or whatever word function you need. Okay, let's go through this exercise step by step. The economy of the 21st century is based on skills and knowledge. This is an example question, but let's explain it in any case. A good thing to look out for here, if you see a gap and you've got and before the gap, then this is a good clue as to what kind of word that you need, because before the and, you can see that we've got a plural noun here. So whenever you see a noun and gap, then chances are that gap's going to be a noun. If you see adjective and then a gap, chances are it's going to be an adjective. In this case, we need the noun form of know, which is knowledge. So to know, and then the noun form, which is knowledge, based on skills and knowledge. So we've also got that language structure as well, based on plus noun. So based on skills and knowledge, according to a recent report, the study shows that throughout this century there will be more jobs for those with the right qualifications and the right skills, and fewer jobs for those with none. So we're setting the context. We're talking about employability. We're talking about businesses. We're talking about the future. So this is the context that we're talking about. The best employee will be one with a something level. Okay, what have we got here? Let's have a look at the language pattern. We've got an article before the gap. This article refers to this noun, level, which means that between articles and nouns we have adjectives which modify the following noun. In other words, what kind of adjective do we need to modify level? Well, tough test of vocabulary for question number 1. We've got to find the adjective, the correct adjective from the verb to demonstrate. And the word that we're looking for, you can see over my head, will be demonstrable. Demonstrable, I would say. Level of academic, and exactly the same thing for number 2. We've got our gap before the noun, which tells us that we need an adjective to modify this noun, and the vocation and the adjective from this noun is vocational. So demonstrable, level of academic or vocational achievement. So 2 adjectives to start off the exercise that can enable the individual to support their CV with evidence of desirable personal qualities. Impressive stuff. As something increases, the language pattern tells us here that we're going to need a noun of some kind. To increase is our verb, but we need the subject. What increases? In other words, what is the noun, the subject that increases? We're given the noun globe as our stem word, so we need a noun from this noun. And the correct noun that we're talking about is, bearing in mind the context, we're talking about employees, we're talking about big businesses, we're talking about possibilities of the future. The noun that we need is globalization. So as globalization increases and technological advances make typical working practices redundant, in other words, not necessary anymore, or archaic or old-fashioned, employees Employees is a noun, and what we need here is the correct adjective to describe the noun. In other words, what kind of employees will need to show various personal attributes? And the answer that we're looking for is prospective employees. You can see the answer above my head. So prospective employees will need to show various personal attributes. As well as wanting people who are flexible, companies are also looking for evidence of. So simple language structure, evidence of plus noun. We're given the verb adapt. So the noun form of adapt that we need as regards people's skills, people who are flexible, we're looking for adaptability. So for evidence of adaptability, it is also, for question number 6, we've got our gap here, and we've got our gap before the adjective necessary. So what we need here is a modifier which modifies necessary. Well, necessary is an adjective. What modifies adjectives? Adverbs modify adjectives. So we need the adverb form of this verb, which is increase. And the adverb form of increase is increasingly. It is also increasingly necessary to be an excellent communicator, as the majority of companies make their profits from the skills of people selling their goods as much as from the producers themselves. So this is saying that people are as important as the businesses that they work for, and that context is important for the next 2 questions. The recruitment of the very best people is crucial, vital, extremely important. And what we've got here is a language structure which is, I like to call it a negative conditional form, because we've got unless, and we always use unless with negative conditional forms. So it says, unless businesses show the... Here we've got our article. We don't have our noun. So what is the noun that we need? The what? The noun form of will, which is an adjective, I think. A noun. The will of someone. If we're talking about the ability of that person to want to do something, which is what we're talking about here, or a company in this case, we need the noun willingness. So unless businesses show the willingness to adapt, they may find that they are according to authors of the report. So what this is saying is that companies need to show that they're looking for the best employees. And if they don't, they might go out of business. That's the context. And that's an important context because we need to find out what this adjective is. We've got a form of be here into just before the gap, which suggests that we're going to need an adjective of some kind. And if we have a look, if you see just over my shoulder, you can see that we've got the verb sustain. So we're looking for an adjective for sustain. And you might think straight away, sustainable. That's an adjective for sustain, but it doesn't fit the context because sustainable means that businesses will stay alive. But what we're trying to say here is that businesses won't stay alive. So we need the negative form of the adjective, which is unsustainable. Which is why you've got to have a very good idea of the context, pay attention to what's going on to make sure that you get those tricky little negative prefixes. And there we go. We've flown through this word formation exercise. If you've got any questions about this exercise, or if you agree or if you disagree with anything that I've said, then please get in touch, leave a comment below, and I'm more than happy to have that conversation with you to find out where I've gone wrong or to help you understand. And remember, if you are studying for the advanced exam or the Matura advanced exam, and you're studying from advanced gold, ready for advanced, or expert advanced, or advanced expert, then pop along to my website, cramtheexam.com, where I've got videos just like this for every single exam question in those course books, so you can study as quickly as you like, do as many as you like, all kinds of exam questions in order to prepare yourself for your English exam. Okay, thank you very much, and I'll see you again soon.